Good morning to all of you, or good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever you're watching this. Welcome to Talk Wrestling here on ODQ.com and, of course, YouTube.com. Thank you all for watching, especially for those of you that are watching in London, England, Finland, etc., New Jersey even, I see on the show today. Thank you guys so much for watching all over the world. You guys are awesome. First one from London, England is from Dizorian87. Do you think wrestling fans expect too much these days? South Park jokes about the fact that every good idea they come up with, the Simpsons have already done. Do you think the same could be said about wrestling now because they've done so much? That's a very valid argument, you know. Wrestling has done pretty much everything there is to do. With pop culture being the way it is and society being the way it is, they've come up with just about everything they can to entice the people. And now they're very much more reality-based than they ever have been. They have basically John Cena, the man, fighting Randy Orton, the man, or John Cena facing Alberto Del Rio, or Randy Orton facing Christian. A lot of these guys are very much extensions of themselves. We've talked about this before. The characters aren't really characters anymore. They're basically the real-life guys with character names, like Christian, like Alberto, like, you know, fill in the blank here. It's very much reality-based. It's no more character-based. It's very much reality-driven now in wrestling. Same thing on TNA. You got Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett and Ric Flair and not a whole lot of characters going on in TNA, or excuse me, Impact Wrestling. What the hell is that name of that company anyway? Seriously, I'm confused as hell. But anyway, very much more reality-driven, not character-based. This is from Zillion JAPE, sorry about the pronunciation, in Finland. What would be the worst decision ever that WWE has done? For me, it's the BS that happened to Christian. Okay, the thing that happened to Christian was horrible as far as for Christian fans and Christian himself. No doubt about that, but it wasn't the worst decision they ever made. The worst decision they ever made, in my eyes, was purchasing WCW and buying the assets of ECW and trying to do a relaunch of both. WCW got that soft launch on TV with WCW guys invading WWE, WWF back then, and the WCW guys got buried. And then ECW get launched 5 years ago, and it amounted to shit. Complete and utter shit. It didn't amount to anything past December to Dismember. Paul was removed from creative control. Vince took over completely, and it sucked. Completely and utterly sucked. So, Vince buying his competition was the worst thing that ever happened to WWE. Because now WWE doesn't have to worry about doing anything better. This is from TruthXMI. Hey Jeff, I just read Paul Heyman's interview, speaking of ECW, interview on YouTube on what he would have done had he been given control of TNA. What do you think of his statements? I think Paul gave us all, you know, something to dream about, but that's about it. You know, Paul, if he was in charge of TNA, things would have been a lot better, I'm sure. But again, we don't live in the fantasy world. We don't live in character world. We live in reality world. And the reality is, Dixie didn't want to give Paul Heyman that kind of control. She'd rather give control to Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, and Vince Russo. Ask me why. I'll never understand the decision to not bring in somebody with that much creativity. Granted, Paul, business-wise, booked himself into a hole, and the company went out of business. But creatively, arguably the best stuff ever. So with Paul's creativity and the Carter's money, we could have some serious competition for WWE. Instead, we have the same old from Hogan and Bischoff and Russo. Bad business. Bad business. This is from Howell, New Jersey, from Alex99 Gardner. Hey Jeff, do you believe the WWE will bring back the cruiserweight title with all the cruiserweights they have signed lately? Anyway, they have been pushing the small guys back and giving the bigger guys more push forward. That's not a whole lot of surprise. They've been doing that for the better part of the last few years. Cruiserweights, what they do have, Rey Mysterio, Sin Cara, Chavo, guys like that, have been kind of pushed to the back burner, except for Mysterio. And the big guys have been pushed up the card, like John Cena, like Randy Orton, like Alberto Del Rio, like Edge when he was around. You know, Big Show, Those guys. I don't foresee them to ever bring back the Cruiserweight title or the Cruiserweight division, period. They jobbed it out to the point where Hornswoggle was the last champion, guys. You know, I've talked about this before on this show and on Dad's. YouTube.com/Renegade Wrestling. Renegade of Wrestling on YouTube. The Cruiserweight division was a failed experiment WWE-wise. WCW, they were awesome, but again, WCW didn't push them properly for long enough because they started getting behind the NWO and things like that. WWE made the exact same mistake. They failed there too. Alright. Coming up very, very soon here, the NoDQ.com presents XMV Reunion. Mike and I, SummerSlam Countdown, the SummerSlam Party at to be determined. We're looking at a possible location across the street from Staples Center. We'll see how that goes. Well, we're going to hope for the best. We will see you next time on Talk Wrestling. Very good. Nice tie-in there, boss man. This is NWO 2000 now, so it's kind of lame. Kind of fail.